Welcome back to the Road to 1 Million podcast. Today I've got on Evan, owner of Pristine Projects from Springville, New York. Evan had reached out to me. He was listening to the podcast for a little while, and we thought that he would be a great guest to have on. So Evan's doing around $30,000 to $40,000 a month, and he only has two other guys outside of him. So it's always really interesting talking to someone who is doing around the same sales as we are, gross that is, and is operating with only 3 total employees, including himself, whereas a team like us, we have 5 full time. So main reason for that being that 75% of his jobs are ceramic coatings. On the podcast, Evan talks about how he scaled from doing around $7,000 to $10,000 just at the end of last year per month, and is now doing almost $40,000 a month in sales. So he has scaled very quickly, very fast, although he's been in business for over 3 years now. So we talk about all that on this week's episode. Evan recently stopped advertising. It was something that really helped him to go from that 7 to 10K mark up to then the 20, 25K mark in those winter months. But then he stopped advertising and yet has maintained those $30,000, $40,000 months into the spring. So there's a lot to learn and definitely a really interesting episode. And I hope you guys can find some kind of value in it. Don't forget, you can use the timestamps in the description to skip ahead. And without further ado, let's get right into it. All right, today I'm with Evan, owner of Pristine Projects in Springville, New York. Evan, thank you for coming on the podcast with me.
Yeah, man, I love your podcast. It provides a lot of value. I'm really happy to be here, and I'm really happy that you had me join today.
Thank you, dude. Well, whenever someone reaches out and they have another detailing business, and I can tell that you're serious about it, then I'm always interested, because I think it was Mike Norng that said on my podcast that you can learn something from everyone. And man, I'll tell you what, like since starting this podcast, I have been able to get so many good ideas from other detailing business owners, and has really helped us in our detailing business. I mean, we're now booked out 2 weeks, which we haven't been booked out 2 weeks for over 3 or 4 years now. And so, and a lot of that is just, I contributed to having guests on that I've learned and gotten ideas from.
I agree with what you're saying. I mean, I could tell, like, even you've come a long way from the beginning of like your podcast. Like I specifically noticed in the earlier episodes, like, no offense, you didn't know what like questions to ask, but like as you got more experience with these people, you started asking more like intricate questions that don't get asked. And that's just one of the things. And you're also very quiet in your older ones, and I think you talk a lot more, and I think that's really important because you're the one soaking in most of this knowledge. You know what I mean? And you're able to kind of relay that. You can
Well,
tell.
selfishly, I do the podcast to learn, but
Yeah,
I know that
yeah.
it's beneficial for other people. And that's why it's funny because whenever I was thinking about setting this thing up, I was like, I don't think that if I just reached out to some of these shop owners and just said, "Hey, I just want to have like an hour conversation with you," that they would give me their time. But if I have a podcast where I can share it to other people, um, it's a lot easier. It just feels, not that some of these guests wouldn't. I know some of them definitely would, but it's just a lot easier to have the conversation over a podcast, right?
Yeah, and it's more relaxed. And it's honestly like a lot more fun. It's like, oh, I'm gonna be on a podcast. Like even I was telling my girlfriend about it, and she was like, oh my God, Evan, I'm so proud of you. Like, but in the back of my head, I'm like, I'm just having a conversation with this guy. I am like at the end of the day, I am excited to be on it. But like, she was happy for me, and I guess it's just it is kind of a big deal. I mean, you have something that nobody else is really doing, and I think it can be a big deal one day.
Well, I I just do
I
it out of
actually
the
don't even know the statistics of your podcast, so it could already be a really big deal. I don't mean to downplay your setup you got here, but it is awesome.
It's funny because I don't really pay too much attention to like the numbers on all of it.
Hmm.
Um, I would say that it's more important like quality over quantity. I kind of view it the same way as my detailing business. Like I would rather have 30 solid um, customers that for this month, that are going to bring me big projects, and I could spend a good quality amount of time on it, and make sure that they're perfect, versus having three times as many, but it's just quicker jobs. And it's the same way that I think about the guest, or the listeners rather, that listen to this podcast. Um, I mean, it's some of the episodes we have. I think we have about 5,000 downloads as of right now, and
Really? That's awesome.
some of the
Yeah, I
some
didn't
of
know
the
you could
episodes.
download it. I thought like can you just see like how many listens there are, or is that not a statistic?
I don't know if there's a difference between downloads and listens, or not.
Because downloading, I think you have to manually do it, and it like actually like you can listen to it if you don't have like service. I think
Right?
that's what I grasped from it. But but yeah.
I don't know if there's a way to track the two of them, but I would say that there's a lot of people that listen to this podcast that are really high in shops, and that's been really cool to see. And some of the people like yourself, even, that reached out to me, and I'm
Hmm.
always surprised by, shops that are doing 30, 40,000, 50,000, $100,000 a month that are listening to the podcast. And it's a niched thing.
Oh
I'm trying
yeah.
to tailor towards people that are doing detailing, and trying to grow their detailing business. And so it's not meant to be this wide, audience type podcast. I mean, my mom probably listens to it,
Yeah.
but
Is
other
there
than
any
her,
like this? You don't have to answer this, but like, do you get any sort of like do you make any money from doing this, or is this strictly just fun? I mean, I
it's
know it
just
is
strictly
fun
fun.
for you, but like yeah, but there's Spotify doesn't offer anything like that.
No,
No, I
nope.
didn't I didn't know truly, but yeah.
Well, I kind of want to get into a little bit more about your business, and
Hmm.
kind of talk about how you got started with doing car detailing, because I know that you started out of your Chevy Equinox doing mobile detailing, right?
Did you dig that up or did I tell you? I can't remember.
No, I digged it up.
That's awesome. You definitely you're on your game here. Yeah, I did start out on my Equinox. I don't really have a special story about how I started my business. I mean, really, it was a matter of I had two daughters very young. My first daughter was born when I was 20. My second was when I was 21. Um, I know that, but like in the moment I knew like I needed to make some money. I was working at Lowe's at the time, and I loved that job. It was fun, but obviously it was paying me 21 bucks an hour. So I came across just a TikTok video. I thought it looked fun, and then I started buying like chemical guys stuff, just like most of us started out. um, and yeah, it kind of took off from there. I was mobile for a year. I hated it. I hated it. I actually thought like I didn't think I was going to be able to do this for the rest of my life. There were so many days where I sat in my Equinox and I like contemplated, am I going to do this for the rest of my life? Um, and then I started doing coatings mobile. I would only do them if people had a garage, because I personally I don't think like installing a coating in the elements is really like I don't think it's gonna work. That's just the way I see it. People can have I mean I know people have their opinions, but then that led me into getting my first shop. Um, and my first shop was a dungeon. It was nothing special. The concrete floor was horrible. It was a great starting shop for sure, but like sometimes people would like I would get a lot more cancellations there. That's for sure because of like just that people's judgment. I mean, I totally understand. Um, but yeah, now I mean, do you have any questions about that, or would you like me to just keep rambling?
I'm I'm curious to know. So you said it was whenever you were doing mobile detailing, like you were contemplating it every day. When you got a shop, was it like, ah,
Yes, yes, very much so. Yeah, I think like I live in New York too, so I do my business is out of New York. It's really not the hottest place in the world, but like nobody likes detailing on an 80 to 90 degree day. It sucks. And like when you're sweating all over somebody's car after you just did all of it, it's like it's like when you open the door when it's raining, you got to chase it all back. But yeah, I did not like doing mobile, especially because I didn't have like an actual rig. I would get home from work every day. I don't know if anybody can relate to this. I would get home from work every day and I had all my stuff in Milwaukee pack outs, take out the pack outs, fold towels, refill the chemicals. I didn't have a chemical station. It was just like I was bare bones here. I did invest. I did have like $3,000 to $4,000 to invest in the business, but I did not like unpacking and repacking. A lot of late nights, a lot of early mornings, but I stuck it out until I got my first shop, and from there, from the when I started till now, my job only became easier and easier over time. So that I guess that
Hmm.
was just the most important thing to me when it came to a shop is how easy it was,
Did
or not
you
easy,
start
but go ahead.
right? It's never easy, right?
No, but it's better conditions.
Yeah. Whenever you started, did you put? You said you had $3,000 to $4,000 to invest. So is that what you put into the business to begin with?
Yeah, I mean, I bought a Mighty extractor. I bought the Milwaukee packouts. I bought all these chemicals. I bought a Milwaukee rotary. I kind of balled out. Like I got the nice stuff. The only thing I actually ended up returning was the Mighty Light 80, whatever the extractor, because I don't use wet extraction. And it was like a $1,500 purchase. It was huge, heavy, and I never used it. And I'm not saying it's a waste of money, but I personally don't ever wet extract. I only dry extract.
Hmm. Yeah, we do a lot of dry extracting too, and when we do wet extracting, we usually just use a shop vac with a happy tree
Yeah, like
attachment.
and if I need to, I'll spray more like water or chemical, but like I've never really seen, and I don't know if I will in this future, like seen a purpose in buying one of those machines because all an extractor is a vacuum with a pump. You know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But
I mean, it's nice
do you
to
use
have like the
Flex
hot
products?
water, but I don't know. Are they
No,
any good?
no, I meant like sorry, Bridgepoint chemicals. The
No.
bio, the fire, the ice.
Mm.
Dude, what do you use?
For
Like carpet stain, like stain extraction or like stain removal shampooing?
we use an enzyme cleaner, and I think it's I forget what company it's from, and then
Is it
we use
PNS?
3D.
Dude,
So
I'll send you the links later, but you got to get on this Bridgepoint stuff. It is magic. It is pure magic. Comes concentrated in a powder, and you can. It is so it'll last you forever. It is so inexpensive, and it's just the best stuff ever. And that is why I dry extract because I have never had a need to use anything other than this magic powder I got. And
okay,
I'm gonna put you on, and you're gonna love it, and you're probably gonna make some videos on it.
okay,
So
cool. I'll buy it. Bridgepoint.
yeah, yeah, Bridgepoint Systems. I don't think you can get it on Amazon. It's called Bridgepoint Bio is what I use 90% of the time. And then if I'm working with the really dirty interior like oil stains, I use a two system or a two chemical system. One's high alkaline and one is low acid. So you can rinse each other out and bring the seats and the carpets back to pH neutral. I don't know if you know anything about like the science. It's not hard. It's not very uh, complicated, but you would have to know a little bit about it in order to do it properly.
Right. No, I understand what you're saying. Um, Getting a little bit more back into the
Yeah, yeah.
beginning, whenever you guys were starting. So so it was just you when you started, and you were kind of doing this as a way just to make a little bit more money. I guess have a little bit more freedom on
Hmm.
as well. So, and I know how it was at the beginning because you're coming home and you're having to refill all your chemicals and do all your laundry. Um,
I have nightmares. I'm so
so
glad I'll never have to relive that. I'm just saying that.
And it's funny because like mobile detailing has such an advantage because of the convenience side of things, for those guys that are just starting.
And the low
But
overhead, yeah.
yep, yep. So you put $3,000 to $4,000 into it whenever you started. Do you remember what you made your first year?
I would say roughly like 30 grand. A
Okay.
lot of it was cash. So I think I have maybe like like between 7 and 10 grand with card transactions, and then the rest was just cash. So I never really recorded it or anything like that. I'm sure a lot of people can agree. That's how it was.
Yeah. So, after your first year, did you know like you needed to shop pretty quickly?
Um, yes. Trying to think of when everything like kind of came about. My memory's foggy because of all the coatings that I inhale. But yeah, I think it was yeah, after my first year doing mobile, I knew it wasn't it, and then so this is 2022, and then 2023 came along, and by March I got my first shop, which was the Dungeon. And from like I would say like from when I began till now, like I just slowly started taking things more seriously. The happier I got. So when I was in the shop, that's when I started doing coatings more. That's when I knew I wanted to be a coating installer because that is where the money is at. Um, and I didn't get my first employee until 2020, 2024. Yes, 2024. I didn't get my first employee. It was actually my girlfriend. Um,
Does
and
she still work for you?
she just left the company. I mean, she actually worked on a coding with me today because we had a call off. So I called her and I was like, "Hey, can you come help me?" She did, and I appreciate it. If she's listening, I really appreciate you for that. And you mean a great deal for me, and you always think about me, and I appreciate it. But yeah, she left the company. I made her hate detailing. I made her hate it. I made her hate coatings. I made her hate it because I won't get like too into this, but I lost my car last year, and we lived 30 minutes from the shop, and I was like, what are we gonna do? So she started working with me. She worked at a detailing shop for like a dealership prior, so she left that and she went to work with me. And lots and lots and lots of early mornings and late nights for like a year straight. And I put her through hell, like I won't lie. Um, like I said, if you're listening to this, I really love you and I appreciate you, but I put her through hell for like a year. She worked her fucking, sorry, my language, but she worked her ass off. She really did. She put in the work, and we ended up buying a house together because of that. We had a plan. We had a plan in mind. We were gonna bust through the year, buy a house, get me a new car after the house, and now we're here. I actually just bought my first truck yesterday, and now she's free from the shackles, and I really couldn't thank her enough for it.
That's awesome, man. What a story.
Yeah. Yeah. It was a really rough ride, and honestly, like if anybody has ever worked with their significant other, they know it's really not easy. You guys are like we were around each other every waking moment of the day for like a year straight, and like I'm like our relationship ever since she left a couple months ago, our relationship has never been better.
Do you have any advice for working with your significant other?
um, spend is like time away from each other is good. I don't really care what anybody says. It's good. You need that time to miss each other. So if you guys have opportunities to go out and do your own thing, and maybe once or twice a week, do it. Take care of each other. Um, just just be mindful of one another. I mean, there's really no way of avoiding how difficult it can be, and I actually don't even really suggest it unless you have to, unless you guys are really, really like passionate about it. I sucked the passion out of her from detailing, which was difficult to watch because she did enjoy it until she had to do it every day. Um, but yeah, I made sure I paid her good. I paid her about 30 an hour just because of like, I always felt guilty, but she was great. She still is like the number one. Like if she comes in, I know she's gonna kill it. She's great. She's just as good as me at times.
Did you ever have a passion for detailing, or was it more always just about like the money?
Um, I was always a go-getter when it came to money. Um, I always found like ever since I was 14, I was working. And I always had like some sort of way. Fun fact, I used to have a meme page on Instagram. I used to post memes, and
Hmm.
I used to promote people's businesses with my page because it was so big. I had like 400,000 followers posting funny pictures, and I'd make like $1,000 a week as a 16-year-old on that. It was
Wow.
great. Sorry, I don't mean to get off track. But my mom was always a very meticulous person growing up, and um, she just kind of like built it in me to be good at cleaning, just a cleaner in general. So it did start off with detailing, and then I got into coatings because I love doing it, and I didn't like it at first. I really didn't. I hated doing a one step, but I definitely enjoyed it. I enjoy everything about my business because of employees. I think everybody should have employees. I do. I mean, everybody's got their own way of doing business. Some people like doing solo, but I think employees increase the quality of my life tenfold
In what ways? Like, what do you mean by that?
because you don't have you're not responsible for 100% of the job. Like doing paint correcting and ceramic coating a truck by yourself is very, very strenuous on the body. Like it is not easy work, and you wake up in pain every day. I mean, you know what I mean? I'm sure you've had days like that.
My back hurts right now.
Yeah, mine too. I mean, even even with employees, like you still feel a little bit of that pain, but like you're also not lonely. Sorry, you're also not lonely, which is important. Your job is a little more enjoyable because of that. You have some sort of bond with another human, which is also important. Um, you have time, which is this is important for me. If I have to take a phone call, I'm not worried at all. I'm not worried about what time I'm going to get home because I know the people that are working are going to do a great job. So I can step out and take a phone call. I can step aside, talk to a customer, and know that the job is still being worked on. That's big for me. Um, I don't necessarily agree with people that think that employees are a waste of money or a waste of time, or they're just knuckleheads because it's 100% in your onboarding process. It's 100% in your SOPs, the way you treat them, the amount you pay them, and just how you run your business. You need to have an environment that's enjoyable to work in. You need to have systems that are easy to remember and easy to solve. And another thing, like you got to pay them good too, and have
Yeah,
great benefits.
I think that it's just like with our prices as a business. Like we charge more, and usually, not always, but usually you get higher quality clients. And it's the same thing with an employee. When you pay them more, like, yeah, it might be nice to pay for a little bit of a cheaper employee, but you're going to get what you pay for.
Yeah, and I mean like I'm not spending like I'm not spending a fortune on my employees, but they like I said, what's important is that you make the environment enjoyable. That's a big thing too. Like you want to make sure, and you want to have a personal connection with your employees too. You don't want to just look at them as goblins making you profit. Um, you you want people you enjoy sharing a space with.
Yeah, I think that I can get a pretty good sense just in like that first interview whether or not this is someone that would be worth having on our team. You know, just talking with them, like getting the feel for their character and their attitude. And every single person on our team has something special about them that makes them unique. And I'm really proud to say that, like, when you look at the team as a whole, like every person adds something that the other people don't have, and it's pretty amazing. And
100%.
you know, like Jared's funny, and like I'm a little bit more serious, and Austin's also funny. But you have to be careful with Austin and Jared, you know, because they're both funny, and sometimes when they're together, you know, they don't work quite as productive. So that's like
Yeah.
that. That's like that
I like your
teamwork.
dynamic you got going over there because they're all none of them are afraid to get in front of a camera. I mean, at least that's not what it seems like. I do like the way you run your business too because it's very personal. Like you're very inclusive on the social media about, you know, everybody being in the videos and I like the skits. The skits are funny. I do like I think the content you post is it's very it's like it probably inadvertently gets clients because of just how personal you can be and you know People like doing business with people. It is what it is. Um, but yeah, I wouldn't say my onboarding process was good at all. Actually, I think my hiring or my interview process, I think it was horrible. I mean, I wrote all my questions on a Google Doc and I asked them, but at this like I just like pushed it to the side and just started like rolling questions off the tongue, like off, you know what I mean? Um, and I truly just think I got really lucky with the people that I hired. I do. I mean, I got a guy. His name's Dylan. He's my first real employee after Nyala, and he was a blessing. Like he loves detailing just as much as I do. He like he if he you would find it hard to believe to think that he wasn't the owner of the company because he'll record his own content. He's got his own detailing TikTok. He'll make his own like videos. He'll edit his own stuff. He'll record content for himself. Like he finds enjoyment in it, and he's very passionate. He's clearly very passionate about um, the job itself. Like he's very good at it. He loves coming to work and he loves talking about it. So I got very lucky with Dylan, 100%. Um, so yeah.
How did you find him?
I posted so when I post my when I look for an employee, well, as of lately, or as of just like the only way I've ever done it, I've never done Indeed. I've never done like a actual job posting. I've just posted it on a Springville, or sorry, I do business at a place called Springville, and they have a really tight Facebook group. Like it's if I struck a gold mine with Springville, they love small business, so I posted on their Facebook page saying I'm looking for employees, and the thing about him, and I told him this, is I had about 8 to 9 people reach out, and I had a couple of interviews, and I told him I'm like he messaged me like he was one of the last people that messaged me, and he was like he's very persistent. He was very, very on top of it. Like, I want this job. I want you to interview me. I need you to give me a chance. And this is after I did a bunch of interviews. I was, thinking about who I was going to pick. And I had an interview with him, and he was very, very like, he's like, you need to do this. I don't know how to put it any other way. He was very persistent, and it got him where he is, and he has never not been persistent with anything he does in life. And if he has a goal in mind, he'll chase it, and he'll do it. And I think it's going to get him very far because it got him a pretty solid position. I mean, he's the first employee in my business, and I like with any small business, if you're growing, you have such a critical position if you are the first.
When did you realize you could hire someone? Was it like a dollar amount or were you booked out for so long?
It's a combination of both. I mean, I knew that I definitely like I always thought it was just going to be me and some other person, but every time I hire somebody, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to need to do it again because I like the idea of having a bigger team. But anyway, not to get too off topic, it was definitely the dollar amount because in September of last year, I started doing paid ads for Meta, and those went well. I went from making anywhere between 7 to 11 grand a month to 21 grand a month because of paid ads. And then I did those for 4 months. And then after the amount of work we had, how booked out we are, and how much money we were making, I knew that it was time to bring on another person. So I think, around like 21 to 25K is when I brought in Dylan.
Hmm. So you started doing paid ads, and that was just you and your girlfriend at that time, and that was September of last year.
Yes. Yeah, she recorded all my videos for me. It was a little difficult to get in front of the camera first, and I mean I had some terrible videos, Josh. Oh my God, if you want I could dig them up, or you could dig and find the tomato soup one. If you find that one, oh my God, I might delete. Did you watch it?
No, I don't haven't watched that.
Oh man, it was bad. It was the first like meta ad video I ever did.
Did it work?
Oh, cringing. No, it failed miserably. Oh my God. And I thought I was cooking with the video. I thought I really had something going for me, and it got me no leads. But lessons are best learned through, or progression is best achieved through failures. You're only gonna do better if you fail. Like that is how it is. You gotta put yourself through the ringer.
Yeah. Did you see I put a reel up on our Road to 1 Million Instagram where I said, and it was a clip from one of the podcasts that I did where I was saying that like the real losers are the people that never start, because every person can go back and look at their videos and it's all going to be cringe. Every single person. I promise you, there's not one. There's not one person I've
Yeah.
interviewed that doesn't have a cringe
Mhm.
video. I promise. But
And
there's a lot of people
you
that
always thought
are,
like you were doing great with it too. Like you always thought this video's fire.
yeah,
Yeah. I didn't know you had a Rotom 1 million Instagram though. I'll have to follow that because I didn't know you did clips and stuff like that. But that'd be cool to watch or
yep.
have.
Just take clips from the podcasts. But so you guys progressed pretty quickly because so if you just started doing paid ads in September of 2024 and you said you were doing about around 10,000 a month then, but then you got up to that 25K pretty quickly then, right?
Yeah, I mean, paid ads really changed a lot for me. I don't know if you ever heard of the company or the TikTok page called Show Car Auto Spa with
Mm-mm.
Sebastian Wolfgram. He's a
No.
he so he took like social media for I don't mean to like give him all the credit because he probably doesn't get all of it, but he definitely changed the social media aspect for detailers. I think he was a big game changer, and then he took his, he makes I can't remember, but you should actually have him on the podcast. It would probably be a really cool interview. Um, where was I getting with this? He he doesn't work in his detailing business anymore because he made a separate business for um, paid ads called Social Refresh. And then I just saw his ad one day, and I was like, man, I'm ready to do this. I'm like ready to take the next step. And just like with anything in life, when you have to make a big purchase or a big commitment, like it's very, very nerve-wracking, and you're like hoping that there's some sort of guarantee that you're going to make money. But he guaranteed that I would make an additional 10 grand a month or my money back with the paid ads. So I did it. And the thing about paid ads though is if you want good quality leads and if you want to book more appointments, number one, your content needs to be good. You really won't get quality leads unless the paid ads you're doing has good content behind it. From what I've experienced, and I live in a small town, very small town of like maybe I could be totally wrong, but maybe 8 to 10,000 people, if that. Very small. And another thing is you need to start learning how to sell. I did not realize how bad of a salesman I was until I started getting all these leads in and calling them. I thought I was a great salesman because I'm a good with people, but I would just like how anybody used to be in sales. If you ever had a bad sales experience, you start over explaining and talking about things customers don't care about.
What do you do now? Like, how have you changed that?
I don't do paid ads anymore because I took this sales training and I took this organic lead strategy from another guy. His name is Nick Werner. He changed my business. He did amazing. I mean, honestly, like he really changed my business for the better. I haven't done a paid ad since January because of it, but basically is he gave me a content strategy, what I need to do on my story every day, my Instagram, my Facebook, what I just need to do with customers in general. Like he really, I could go into it all day, but the training and the blueprints, he he changed my business. And the point of it all was to just cut paid ads out. I mean, and not only that, but with the sales training, I'm able to slice through objections and just be better at acquiring deposits. Just like I don't even know where to begin because there's so much that was involved. But yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about the sales training that you're referring to? Like, is there any specific objection examples that you can give me, like how you handle those now?
Um, yeah, I could give you like an example. Like one of them is, man, there's so many. I don't even know which one to pick. Um, but one of them is like if I'm doing a sale, I'll obviously make sure that a coating even makes sense for a customer. I'm never going to sell a coating if it doesn't make sense. And I'm pretty reasonable with it too. But if a client has like, um, let me start with the irresistible offer. I'm sorry, I'm like drawing a blank. I don't know where to start. If I have something called an irresistible offer, and basically it's like I almost run like a sale almost every month. I either pick my 3-year coating or my 5-year coating, and I'll pick which one I want to have like the sale on. And I'll say something along the lines of, hey, typically like our 5-year coating outside of the month of May is $17.99, but for this month we're doing it for $15.99. So the point of that is to strike a little bit of urgency and get them to pay the deposit on the phone, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And then another way, if the client is something says something along the lines of like, yeah, I need to think about it, or talk to my husband, or talk to my wife about it. You could say something like, okay, well, if you want, I can hold this spot for you for the next 24 hours, but if we don't get anything put down, like I only require a $400 deposit. So if I say something like, if you don't get it down, I could pretty much guarantee it'll be filled. So I'm not saying you have to buy it, but it's also strikes some sort of urgency saying, okay, I could save $200 this month if I get a deposit paid within the next 24 hours.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
There's a
And
there's so many objections. It's a 90-day training, and like there's so many different kinds of objections. And I don't really think I'm a pushy kind of person because my close rate is between 70 and 80%, and it's not because I'm a master salesman. It's because the content I post is it provides a lot of trust for the person buying. It also increases my status within my area. So people are like, if somebody's calling me, this is the difference between a paid ad and a just like an organic lead, or sorry, a paid lead and an organic lead. Organic leads are much, much warmer, so they're going to be easier to sell. And when you're getting organic clients rather than paying for them, you're just like your content is selling itself in a way. So you don't have to be as salesy or pushy. At this rate, I just have conversations with people, and I get them to we have just like a connection, and that connection turns into a sale.
did you check your closing rate before you started doing all this sales training?
No, nope. I mean, I would say like with paid ads, like the close rate is much smaller. I would say my close rate was about 30% with paid ads, but that's with like I've noticed with from the previous people who do podcasts with you, like they they tend to feel the same, and it is what it is. Meta will always have a lower close rate than something like organic or Google, because Google is obviously intent and Facebook is accident.
Now, have you noticed? So you said that paid ads really changed your sales. Like that really helped to accelerate your sales from
Yes.
September on, but then you stopped doing them. So
Mhm.
when you stopped doing them, and you went to like pure organic, like you were posting content, and obviously I'm sure you were using like Google SEO. Did you notice that your sales fell off? Did they take a dip a little bit, or have they stayed consistent?
I guess what is the question? Like, are you asking like was I selling less because of the paid ads weren't rolling, or was I selling less because maybe I wasn't doing as good of a job?
No, I was wondering when you turned your paid ads off, did
hmm
your sales fall, or have they stayed consistent?
I made more money. I've never made more money than I do now, and I haven't run paid ads. And I could, but at the same time, like I'm complacent with where I'm at in my business. I do want it to grow more, but I'm not in a rush to grow at this point because I have reached my ultimate goal, and that is to buy a house, buy a truck, and have a successful business. So, but last month, April, I almost touched 40K. That was I think it was like 39.8, something like that. And then this month, I took some extra days off, and I relaxed a little more this month because I just felt good. Right now, we're at 33K and no paid ads since December.
Did you guys hit a slow season with winter?
No. So January, let me actually pull up the numbers for you. Like, I mean, January and February, they're definitely much, much slower than, like what I'm facing now. Um, but December was the worst month I've had in the last 6 months. It was like $6,000, $8,000.
Wow.
And it's because I did take a lot of time off that month, and I was also in the process of moving into a new shop. So there's a lot of time I just took off that month. Let me
Hmm.
pull up January for you.
Do you sell any gift cards in December?
You know what? I missed out on that. I understand why people do it, and I understand why people also do like get $20 when you spend $100 because it sounds kind of messed up, but a lot of people forget that they bought gift cards. I see why people do it.
Yeah.
But in the same sense, it's like it's your responsibility to remember if you paid for a gift card.
Yeah.
So January 2025, we did 18.6.
Wow. This is quite a bit of a jump from December.
Yeah, and it was I just started getting real serious about the content I was posting. I was after work every day. I was spending hours calling leads or following up with them or stuff like that. And these are all organic leads, by the way. February was a bit slower. It looks, oh yeah, there was another reason why February was really slow. It was because I was moving into my new house, so I took 2 weeks off. That's 2 weeks with no pay or
Were your
like
employees
anything
working then?
scheduled. Dylan was working in February, yes, I believe, and I think I told him prior, I'm like, listen, man, I'm moving into a new house, and I actually paid him to help me move in, so I could, keep him fed and whatnot. But he enjoyed the week and a half off that we had. But yeah, he was working with me by then. And then, did you have any other questions before I move on to March?
No, go ahead.
Okay, March, $21,346.
What'd you do in
April,
February?
February, I did 12,500. Like I said, I was moving to my new house, so it was a lot
Okay.
slower. Um, April was the biggest jump. Like I said, 39.8 from 21K, and that was like what that is when that was like the month 3 of the training. That's when everything started to pay off. That's when all the content built up into this giant funnel of trust, and people started calling. I just started, and it was also like opening of the busy season. Obviously, that had a big role in it as well. But um, the new location definitely helped too because it's on a main road. My old location was on a side street. A lot of things that played into the role of me making more money, but it was a really big jump, and yeah, it's almost overwhelming.
How many of those jobs were codings?
I do between 4 to 5 coatings a week.
So was about like half of that 39, 40K? Was that about half
Oh
of that
yeah, I would
coding?
say I would say about 75% of the income is coatings for sure. 100%. That's where the bread and butter is, and like I still do interiors. I personally like. I know people don't like interiors, but I love it because I'm so good at it. So good at it. I have a really great process. I have a really great strategy. We typically anywhere from 2.5 hours to get a interior detail done with 2 to 3 people, which I know it probably could be less, but I charge about $2.99 for an interior detail, so I make it worth it. And people love our interiors. I mean, they actually absolutely love it. So they don't. So anytime I say I should honestly raise it again because I get too many yeses, to put it that way.
I think that's a good gauge on whether or not you should raise your
Hmm.
prices. It's like, when was the last time I got a no?
It's
I probably need
true.
to
Yeah,
raise
it's
it.
very true. Like yeah, like if I get mostly yeses, like okay, maybe I should raise it because I'm not charging enough.
Yeah. There needs to be some people need to have hesitancy, I think. Like that should be a thing whenever it comes to
I
setting your
think part
prices.
of part of me not raising it also at the same time is like I want to be reasonable, but I'm also at the end of the day I'm running a business, so I need
What
to
is
think of it that
reasonable
way.
though?
I don't know. I know some guys that charge 450 for an interior, and like I like if you would have told me that you charge 450 for an interior detail a year ago, I'd have been like, dude, you're scamming your customers. But like I start to understand it more and more every day why people charge a ridiculous amount
Yeah.
because they need to make sure that it's worth it and they need to make sure that everybody's getting paid.
I mean, to anyone that's below, there's people that are charging probably $100 for an interior near you, and they
Hmm.
probably think 299. That's crazy. Like, how is he
Yeah.
getting? And then at the same time, you're looking up at the guy charging 450, saying the same thing.
Yeah, and I'm looking down at the guy charging 100 and I'm saying, I could never, like, it would just never make sense. But I was
Yep.
there at one point. I mean, I think my starting price for an interior when I first opened my business, a sedan was 120 and like an SUV was 160. So I wasn't like dirt cheap, but wanted to make sure I was making money and make it worth my time.
Hmm.
And you profit more when you're a single guy. So it just makes more sense to charge less anyway.
Yeah. And on that episode I did where I talk about starting a detailing business in 2025, like I mentioned, like there's some people that say you have to start with, high prices. And it's like when you're by yourself and your overhead's low, you don't. You can charge cheaper prices because you're going to be
Yeah.
pocketing more.
Yeah, and I think I was listening to another podcast about how like people will like it's good to start with a high price because you don't want people to like stop recognizing that or you want people to like shift. But the people that really love your work, they know that it's worth more than what you're charging, first of all. So they'll stick around. And secondly, I don't think it's necessarily true. You're just going to attract different people, and I think it's very important that you attract people who are less picky because we
Yeah.
all know it's oversaid, but we all know that if you charge less, you get pickier people. But if you charge more, you get people who like that one video you made where it's just like you worked so hard to make it perfect, and then they're like, looks good. They hand you money and a tip with no hesitation, and they leave a review. You know, just less problematic, and that's what we all aim to work with
Yep.
because we deal
When
with
did you,
enough problems.
that's for sure. When did you start doing coatings?
After about a year. Yeah, my first coating I ever installed was CarPro. The man, I can't remember. It was a CarPro one that was really popular. It was like a 2-year coating, and then I started doing System X. I did not like System X personally. I think it was hard to install. I don't like the open top bottles that are easy to spill. Their prices are ridiculous. Sorry, I don't mean to talk poorly. And then I did Fireball. I don't know if you ever heard about Fireball.
Mm-mm.
That coating's real good, but they're harder to install and they're very expensive. And honestly, like I think sometimes there's coating companies that just have like no offense, big egos and they could just charge a lot of money for a coating, even though like there's coatings that do virtually the same thing. But I ended up sticking with this one company called Pearl Nano. And like I was saying before, like I have tested a lot of coatings and this one is the easiest to install for me and my employees, and it performs the best. And I get a great price for it too. I get $100 a bottle for a 5 year, and I get like 75 for a 3 year, and $50 for a glass coating. Like I buy in bulk. Typically, they're usually like $50 more than what I pay, but yeah, I don't know. But Pearl Nano is great. I love their products, and they actually price matched a lot of my chemicals too. So that costs a lot. I mean, I got a whole 5 gallon pail of iron remover for like $1.99. You know, it's just you become tight with one company and they treat you well.
Hmm. That's awesome. Whenever, so you started doing it about a year after you started. This time last year, do you remember what your sales were and how many coatings you were doing?
I can pull it up for you. Definitely nowhere near what I was making now. I mean, yeah, April of 2024. Like for some perspective, this year I made almost 40. Last year in April, I made $7,600. So that was a big jump, but it was just I believe I don't know if Nyla was working. I think she was working with me part time, so it was just me and her. But like I'm looking at my schedule here. I had one coding in the first week, um, no codings the second week, and like mind you, I was also not completely filling up these days either. I was just completely going off. Like I used to just I used to just gain business by posting in the Facebook group once a week and word of mouth. That's how I was floating about. Looks like, you know, yeah, I had I had 2 coatings in April of 2024, and I charged a lot less. So
What do you think has contributed, other than like the posting? Is there anything else you think that has contributed to the increase in coatings?
I think my quality of work has definitely increased a lot. I would say, I would say, I'm not gonna lie here. I used to cut a lot of corners from 2022 to 2024. Like when it came to coatings, when it came to like details, I was very, very specific. But like when it came to coatings, like I'm not gonna lie, I was miserable doing it by myself all the time because it's a lot of work. And I would cut corners because I wanted to go home and spend time with my family and just like I was just not very, I was not in it. Yeah, I don't think yet. I really just don't think I was in it until I lost my car and Nyla started coming to work with me. I think that's when I actually like started taking my business extremely seriously and locked in and said I need to make a change because I've been treating this like a side hustle. So,
What month was that?
I believe it was April of
Hmm.
2024, really. Um, yes, yep, you know what? Yes, because yes, it definitely was April when I said I need to lock in. And then I didn't really truly lock in until September when I started doing paid ads. That's when I started making a lot more money.
Hmm. Did you see a increase in your sales after April, like after you started to lock in a little bit more?
Yeah, I mean, and like in the summer months, like July and August, uh, I believe in August, I made about 14K, but I'll have to triple check that with you.
And some of that is seasonality, right? Like August is usually busier than April for us, and that's kind of been the way it is for the last 5 years.
Yeah, July was 11K of 2024, and August of 2024 was 14. And then you jump to September. Oh, September was also 14. Well, must have been lying. And then October must have been when I started actually like making good content for meta ads. That's when I made about 20K that month. And then November was another 20K. And then December was my bad month where I took a lot of time off and had to move shops.
So do you think that a lot of that was just like mindset, like the shift from beginning of 2024 to like where you're at now? Has it really just been a mindset shift of like, I'm going to commit, I'm going to do this full time and take this seriously?
I always did it full time. Like I quit my part-time job like a year after I started doing mobile detailing. But I knew that it was always going to be a forever thing for me because the money was always good. Like no matter what, um, like even when it was just me and Nyala before the paid ads, we were still making good money. I knew it was going to be my thing forever.
Hmm. Do you think that looking back that year that you and your girlfriend worked those long hours, do you think that you should have done anything differently? Would you have changed anything?
Hmm. Let me, um, let me ponder for a moment. I think um, I think I was very stressed out. Um, and it was you could very visually tell in the way my tone was, just like with everybody. Like I was just a very stressed out person, and I think if I don't really know how I could have changed that, to be honest. Maybe worked on my myself in a way, but I think um, not not really saying how you truly feel in the moment. I just like I had a lot of attitude, I would say, and I was very verbal about that, and I think um, probably put a lot of stress on her. But I didn't really have an excuse other than being stressed. So my only advice would be, um, I don't know, meditate
Have
when you wake up,
a good
or
morning routine.
just
That
keep,
definitely
just
helps.
yeah, just keep pushing. I mean that like because of how our schedule was. I mean we would go home and we would just get takeout every day and not cook, real home cook healthy meals because of how our schedule was, and we lived 30 minutes away from the shop too. So at the time, so you had to account for all that driving, and then you get home late. Oh, there's no groceries. You got to go grocery shopping. Just so much. It was just like I could never explain how stressful it was, and I hope nobody ever has to really go through that if they don't need to.
Yeah. There's this saying, I think it's from Jocko, the Navy SEAL guy, that he says discipline equals freedom. And I think there's a lot
Hmm.
of truth to that. It doesn't seem like that because a lot of people think that like freedom is being able to go out and get takeout every day of the week, you know. But
It's
in
definitely fun
reality,
because I lived in the city. It was an experience, but yeah, go ahead.
I think that in reality though, it it feels better whenever we have time to meal prep or time to like cook your own food, and you have time to go to the gym, and you have time to hang out with your friends and your family, and like there's a little bit more discipline, even if you have to sacrifice a little bit from some other things, as
Oh
long as
yeah,
there's more discipline.
I love coming home and cutting the grass. Like I actually genuinely look forward to it. I know I have like about an acre of land. It's a lot of grass. I mean, it might not be for some people, but for me, like it takes me almost 2 hours, and I genuinely look forward to it because it is discipline in a way. You got to take care of your stuff, you know.
Yeah.
And the more at the end of the day, we're all just trying to get more time, and in my free time, I cut the grass.
Yeah.
So. But you're right, yeah. Meal prepping it feels good, all that stuff. Just being an adult, being a healthy and responsible adult is a good feeling.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm always telling my brother, I'm like, listen, man, just because you're busy doesn't mean that that's like a good thing. Like because you make yourself busy and you jam pack your schedule full, and you have no time to do anything else. I can't go to the gym and I can't cook because I'm busy. It's like that's not necessarily something that we should strive for, right? Like that doesn't make you um, a happier person or a more successful person. But I think a lot of the times as especially the way that he's wired, it's like we kind of use that as an excuse, to like avoid doing everything else. We're just going to stay busy with work.
Yeah, and I think it's also important that you I think it's important to make sure that you are never too busy to pick up the phone. Because it's not a good like you it might be an egotistical thing for some people, but it's not a good look. You can't ever just like you can't ever say, "Oh, I'm sorry, I was so busy." It just doesn't look good.
Yep.
You want to make sure that you have time for everybody. Um, so yeah,
And that may mean you have to hire someone.
yeah, you might have to delegate time tasks to other things. I mean that it's just you probably not saying anything badly about your brother. I'm sure your brother's great.
Hardest working dude I know.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And like everyone's got their pros and their strengths and their weaknesses, right? And there's things um that I do that like I feel like I'm actually more of the opposite, where I'm like a little bit bigger picture. So I actually need to come down a little bit more into the day by day and focus a little bit more on that. So we all have our tendencies, and it's just important to recognize that. And it helps by having people around you that they'll be serious with you and tell you like, hey, this is something that I see. I think that maybe you could work on this, or um,
Mhm.
just being honest.
So I see that like you said that you were working on a coding today. I think in another podcast I was listening to, I listen to like almost all of them. I won't lie, because like if I'm doing a task, I'll just plug it in and get some value. But I know you said that like you're the entrepreneur, you're the boss, really, or like you're not. I mean, I guess you and your brother you have like a partnership deal, so you're both the boss. But like when it comes to labor, are you definitely a lot less involved in the labor side, or are you still like do you think you're like 70/30 in the labor? Like where you stand?
Yeah, I'm definitely a lot less involved than Austin and the rest of the guys, but
How much time do you think you delegate to a detail? Like if you guys are on an 8 hour coding, 8, 9 hour coding job, how many hours do you think you put into the service?
I don't schedule a lot of jobs with just myself. So I don't, there's like 2 days a week that I usually will book a job for me where I deal with the client and I do the job. But most jobs, if someone is calling me in, I book it with the guys and then I kind of step in. And like today was an exception because one of the guys is out. So I was in charge of the full job. But on most days, I'll kind of come in more as quality control or to help
Hmm.
out whenever there's a super busy day.
Hmm. Yeah,
So
and
it's hard to say.
it's definitely my goal to step out more of the labor because like I'm very I would say like I was asking you if there was a set 9 hour job, probably working for at least 7 to 8 hours of it. I mean, if I have a phone call or if I need to run an errand for the business or if I need to order something, anything, I'll do it. But I'm mostly on the job, and it is also my goal to step out of it more. And the only way you can do that is by hiring more people to delegate those tasks. But I also want to make sure that I'm making enough money to hire somebody else. And the way I want to do that, I don't mean to talk about myself too much, but I know everybody wants to go into window tinting right after, like, they have to do coatings or PPF or whatever. But in my area in Western New York, undercoating is a very big thing, and I think that's the direction I want to take it because it seems like it's a lot less of an investment to start doing undercoating than it is window tinting. I know, like you in the one video you made, you said you spent probably $10,000 at the end of the day getting tint set up, and you're still not even like 100% there because
Yep.
it's a long process.
Well, first off, this podcast is about you, so I do want you to talk about yourself.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
also, I love that you're doing something that you're not just copying what everyone else is doing, and that you look and you see what's working for people in your town and in your area, and you kind of you stay true to that. Because I think that it's the one bad thing about listening to other people is that you become less creative and you just start copying, and that can be bad.
Hmm. And like I said, undercoating, you need to buy a lift and you need to buy a sprayer, maybe another air compressor, and you need to have some practice. I mean, I can't really imagine it's going to cost me more than 5 grand to get started up doing undercoating. And from what I see, undercoating is really great money. But I don't know the logistics of it, like how messy is it? What's the cleanup like? What's the process? I know I've heard a little bit about the process. You take like a wire brush and you scrape off any excess rust and then you coat it, I guess. But I don't know, maybe without you introduce ceramic tint, I'm assuming, not just
Yes.
regular window tint. Yeah, I'm assuming like maybe I should do a type of undercoating that sets me aside from all the other fluid film installers. Maybe I should do something like a ceramic based undercoating, or there's I don't know if you've ever seen those people that make those videos from, I think it's Korea, South Korea, where they really clean the crap out of the undercarriage, tape and plastic everything off, and they spray it in this black stuff that lasts like 10, 15 years. Maybe something like that to set myself aside and be the luxury service. But
Is the undercoatings just more popular just because there's more snow and salt up there on the roads?
yeah, it seems like it's weird because we live off of the lake, and if you live off the lake, you're more like if you live like within 50-ish miles from the lake, you're more likely to get more snow than somebody that's 100 miles away from the lake. And we have to use a lot of road salt out here in order to melt the snow because there's such a mass amount of it. And one of the ways people do to protect that is by either, like for their paint, they'll get a ceramic coating because it helps repel the salt in the snow, or they'll also combine that with an undercoating, which is an oil-based coating that prevents, the salt from penetrating the oil and going into the frame and all that. Yeah, it's a pretty big deal up in Western New York.
Hmm. It's also pretty cool that in a town of only 8 to 10,000 people that you guys are doing what you are. Do you find a lot of your
I
clients are
know,
driving
I
to see
know.
you? Or
No, no. I think part of it is I hit a gold mine as far as like a community goes. Very, very small business friendly up here, but at the same time, like I make myself recognized. I'm very consistent with the way I post, and my brand is I dominate the area. I think I'm the only detailer within about 10 miles of the area, so I think that also plays a big role. But also, we don't have a single negative review. We have over 200, almost 200 5-star reviews across both platforms. So the first thing people say to me is, I like your videos. You do great. Your reviews look great. I heard you from another person. Um, saw you on Facebook or Instagram. So those are like the five things. Google is another thing. Like since I am very dominant in the area, I rank very high on Google. Very specific about the keywords. Like when I ask somebody to leave a review, I say, can you leave the word Springville, New York and ceramic coating somewhere in the review? And that helps with the SEO because Google tracks everything when it comes to SEO. That's very important.
Hmm. Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of people out there that they think that they can't be successful because they live in a small town. But
Yeah,
I think that
absolutely. That's the way
there's
I thought too.
really, you thought that?
Yeah, because when my sales trainer Nick Werner, when he told me, he's like, dude, you're gonna make 30, 40 grand easy. And I'm like, there's no way in hell I'm gonna be able to do that, dude. I live in such a small town, but everybody's got a car, and lots of people make more than what you think. I mean, you know what I mean? There's a lot of people out there, and not only that, even if you serviced, even if you have the mentality like, oh, I serviced so many people in my town, I'm running out of clients. By the time that happens, people are probably gonna have new cars and they're gonna come back to you, or you're gonna reach other towns because of how your business is growing. I mean, that's just the way it goes.
Yeah. I mean, how many people have you done a ceramic coating for and then they bring their wives or they refer their friend?
Um, I don't know that statistic, but I would say that's probably how I get a lot of my business is probably referrals and doing a great job. Um, but yeah, I mean, everybody's so connected in this small town, so it probably just comes around.
Do you have any competition for ceramic coatings?
I got a couple, but I I I had a mentality shift about that as well. Like, there's enough money for everybody. I don't necessarily like unless I live in a really condensed city. I don't really truly believe in competition, but at the same time, if you live in a condensed city, you have more people, which like I said before, there's lots of money to go around for everybody. Um, and if I did have competition, then I'd probably be a lot more competitive with my content creation.
Mhm.
But there are some guys that do coatings around me, but not to be too full of myself, but I do think we do the best job and we have the best service and we have the best customer service and the best. I know I could do a million things better, but for what I have as far as competition, I think we do it the best.
Mhm. Yeah, it's interesting that you say that you said that you would be more competitive if you had more competition, like you're more competitive on your social media. And I'm always trying to think like I need to stay one step ahead of all my competition here. So like if there's something that I think, I should be doing, I probably need to do it just to like completely dominate the market.
Yeah.
Like I don't need to
Do
let
you do you
anyone
live
get
in
an
a
inch.
condensed area? Like how popular is your area?
Well, there's 150,000 people in Springfield, but then the metro is probably closer to like 400,000.
Holy crap! Yeah, you're dealing with something much larger than me. I
Yeah,
like the way your shop is set up. It's very cool. Yeah, I think it was like an old mechanic shop.
it was a car wash.
Oh, yeah, that thing is very cool. I like the way it's set up. Do you have an office?
No.
Oh yeah, you were saying that earlier. So it looks like you have two bays, right? Or three?
Yes, two.
Wh- Correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought in one of the videos there was like this retail area. Is that true? Or am I
Um,
wrong?
well, we have like a chemical like shelf, where we store like our products, but no, we don't have like a retail area.
Hmm. Yeah. Hmm.
But
Yeah.
we try to make it look like that. Like that's the goal. We want to make it seem
Yeah.
like it's not in a car wash.
Yeah.
That
I would like I would like to have another bay eventually. I'm in a 1,500 square foot unit. It's got an office, a bathroom, and it's got enough room to store three cars, but we only like to have maximum of two. And I'd like to have another bay just for the sake of having a waiting room and a bigger office and more space in general. I want to have like a wash bay and then a coating bay. Because like if I want to do, like sometimes I'll have that thing where a client wants to pick it up at a really like a time that's not convenient for me. The next day, say like 4 or 5 in the afternoon after a coating's done. So I have to park it as close to the wall as I can so I don't get like water overspray on the coating. But it ends up working out pretty good. the
Yeah.
way it's closed off. But yeah, I just having another bay would be convenient, but I want to max out the space that I have now, so I'm not just like wasting money. Rent is not cheap. Do you rent or own?
We rent.
Yeah. Do you ever plan on buying it?
Yes.
Yeah. Would you build off of it then?
I'm not going to buy where we're at currently, but I plan on buying a facility or building a facility.
What's your goal look like with that? Like how long is this of a goal?
I don't know, man. We'll see. I mean, I'm not going to be impatient with it, but
Hmm. Yeah,
I'm also
I always thought the same thing too. Like, when am I gonna buy a building? But the way I think of it is, if I'm renting, I know renting is never really the way to go with anything in life, but I don't have to worry about anything. Nothing is my responsibility. As long as you have like a good landlord and a great owner, you don't have to worry about crap. And I don't pay any utilities either. All utilities are included in the rent, and that's big because I use a lot of electricity and water.
I think renting is fine. I think that
Yeah, I
it's
think
gotten
it,
a
it
bad
works.
it's gotten a bad stigma for a while, but when you're still kind of hopping around it and think about how busy you are, I mean, imagine having to just deal with like especially like with a house and stuff like that. I mean, we rent where we live, and I've been a big proponent on renting where you live, um, until you just have the because we just don't want to put the mental effort into having to fix things right now. Like we like knowing that that's just taken care of, and I know there'll come a time, it's coming up here pretty soon, where we will want to buy and we will have to learn to deal with some of that
Congrats.
stuff. But
It's great, and you're
while
gonna.
we,
Yeah, go ahead.
while you are kind of in it in the thick of the business, it's nice to not have to worry about that. So I'm a huge proponent of renting. I think for um, a certain period of time, anyway.
I I don't know why. Like, when it comes to the shop, I don't mind renting, but when it came to like where I lived, I wanted to have something that was mine, like ASAP, and that was the goal with the paid ads and getting the training. I wanted to make as much money as I can so I could buy a house. I see why people rent, because they don't want to be committed to something unless they know they are in love with it. But I just feel so good knowing that my money is going into equity and it's not just being thrown out the window. And we all know that the housing market only goes up from here, so it just feels good. And like having an establishment is nice. Having more land is nice. Having, not living in a box. Like, I don't know, my apartment is really small. I don't know if yours is big or if you rent a house or anything like that, but same thing with a truck. Like, I leased a car before I bought my new truck, and you're just renting. And I don't know why, but like, I just can't stand that feeling knowing that I will never see that money again. And maybe that's just what my dad installed in me for being a cheap bastard, but
Hmm.
as business owners, we all got to be cheap bastards. So,
Yeah. Well, I like that you're going to utilize the shop space you have now, to the fullest. What's your
yeah.
lease on this? How long? Okay, I know you just moved in.
It's a 1 year lease, and it's going for 1575 a month for 1,500 square feet. We got brand new polyaspartic coatings on the floor. Like I said, all the utilities are paid for. It's a really nice spot. It's on a main road. So I see a lot of value in it. I mean, he's going to raise the rent by a nickel per square foot within the next year at my next lease signage, but I don't really care.
Yeah, that's nice. So, yeah, it's like make the most out of it while you're there. And you said it was on a main street, which
Yeah,
is like
main road.
that's worth a lot.
It is, yeah, and yeah, and he's a great landlord. Like, I have no, we all have, some people have like bitter taste towards landlords because sometimes they just don't care. I don't know if you have any experience with that, but like, I've had some bad experiences with landlords, and he's been nothing short of great, and he takes care of me, and we're actually friends. We're friends. He's great. And it's funny. The polyaspartic coating is my idea. Do you know what that is?
No, I don't. I mean, I know what like
You ever?
epoxy is, but
Yeah. If you've ever, so epoxy lasts about 10 years and a polyaspartic lasts about 30. And polyaspartic is also more visually appealing. So the flake is a lot more quality and it just looks nicer. I could send you, you could actually probably look at it on my Instagram. You could see it for yourself. Looks like almost like chipped marble. Um, but I was telling him the one day, it's like, um, it's like, what are the chances I could put a polyaspartic coating in here? And he was like, you can go ahead and do it. So I started getting quotes, and then one day he just came up to me. He's like, you know what? I'm just gonna do the whole 9 unit building. Um, and he's like, you know what? I saw value in it because it's gonna protect my concrete. I just paid a fortune to have all this concrete put in because it's a new building. It's a new build. The whole thing that I moved into, it's a new build, and it looks great. It's gonna protect it, and you know how we feel about protection. um, but yeah, and I mean, at the end of the day, it raised his property value. So no matter what, it ended up working in his favor too. So our shop looks even better. The first thing customer says when they come in is like, "Wow, look at this floor." I mean, my shop looks like a showroom, and that's where everybody hopes to be. You know, they want to be able to deliver a car and make it look like a showroom. You know,
Mhm.
clean floors are also very important to me.
Yeah, no, I agree, man. I think clean everything is important.
Yes, yeah, and I love when a client comes in and says, wow, your shop is like really organized and clean. Like if you looked at my shop, you there's a spot for everything, and that's just the way I am. And you know, people have. Seems like when it comes to automotive, people have their trust or their guard is up because everybody's had a bad experience at an automotive place, and they're either snaky or they're unorganized or messy. Like we've all had that experience, I'm sure. And when they come in, their jaw drops most of the time. They're like, "Wow, like this is awesome." And I love hearing that because I take a lot of pride in having a clean, organized shop.
Yeah, man, I agree. I think that one of my
You could charge more
mentors,
too.
y- yep, one of my
Go ahead.
mentors told me that whenever you can take an industry that's kind of known as being dirty and you can be like the clean guy in that space, that
Hmm.
that gives you such a leg up on your competition.
Oh
And
yeah, 100%. Yeah, and like especially like what's detailing, it's a dirty job. It's like one of the dirtier jobs you can really do in this in life in general. And
mhm,
when they see that you have a clean environment with a dirty job, it's just like it's more of a shock.
yeah, but
Yeah.
we have to be thinking because when you are in it all the time, you don't see some of the dirt. So you have to be. I'm always telling the guys like be trying to be notice the things that maybe put yourself into the mindset of a client that's coming in and they're going to be a little bit more hyper aware of everything and try to make sure that you can get as much of that clean as possible to make it feel inviting for them.
Hmm. What are you referring to?
Well, like not necessarily anything in particular, but I just know that we have a tendency, partially as guys and partially just when you live somewhere or you work somewhere, you can be okay with it being a little bit dirtier because,
Yes.
you're just there all the time. It's like, oh, it's okay. It's just mine. I'm
Hmm.
there in it all the time. But then when someone else comes into it, like have you ever gone over to someone's home and you're like, man, this
Hmm.
place is dirty. And it's like, how do they not notice it? You know?
Yeah.
And they're
Yeah.
like, oh, it's not a big deal. I just deal with it. But it's like, this is gross. So same thing with the shop. It's like be thinking about that same thing.
Yeah, one of my most popular videos on my Instagram page talks about how much pride I take in having clean floors before a customer arrives. Like when I'm done wash, because I don't have two bays, I only have one bay technically, but just like two sections of it. When I'm done decontaminating a car before I start drying it or paint correcting it, I pull the car out of the shop, I clean the floors, and then I pull it back in because I want the customer to walk in and not, I want them to have a showroom floor. That's just part of the experience I try to offer. Um, so yeah, you should check out that video. It did very well actually because that's the thing about you don't have. I know we were talking about your content earlier. You don't have to necessarily make content that's directly uh, specified to like what you do as a company. Like my video is just about cleaning floors, and it got so popular. It's
Wow.
just like it just builds trust. Like when a customer sees that, they're like, wow, I want to go with that company. I don't want to go, not that they're necessarily comparing it because of that video, but they see that video, they're like, wow, like I didn't know there was so much that goes into it, like cleaning a floor.
Yeah.
You know?
That's awesome. Yeah. It's funny how that works like that.
hmm Yeah, and that's why I sometimes like your videos definitely give me inspiration because I look at your videos the same way. Like you're not talking about what the coating's doing or what you're doing to the car. You're just like you're talking about something that's very intricate, or you're making a skit, or I like the one videos you do where like you didn't make a video that day, but you compiled a bunch of old clips and you made like a controversial post. Like I like that, and I want to start doing that because it's a great filler when you don't have
Yeah.
anything to post, and posting consistently is what gets you clients at the end of the day if you're doing it organically. Do you do anything paid? Any
We
ads?
do. We
Yeah.
do paid ads. Yeah.
Can I ask what do you guys bring in every month?
So I think that, and I mean, I could pull it up, but
Like on
um,
average?
Austin and I were on vacation for 10 days in Italy this month. So
Congrats.
it was a great vacation.
I need a
So,
vacation. That's next on the bucket list. I haven't had a vacation in about 5 years, and I think I'm due for one. And I watched a great video, and it said like if you're feeling like you don't want to run your business anymore, or you're just like feeling really unmotivated, take a vacation, and you'll come back full force because you'll just feel so good. Like it's almost as if vacations are required to
mhm.
be a great business owner. And I thought that was a really great video, and I want to take a vacation because of it.
Yeah. I I've never been a huge fan of vacations, but I think that they are important for partially just that reason of like force time to get away and think and just kind of be separate. Be separate from your business.
And it probably makes you feel like I'm ready to get back to go. I got all these ideas. I'm ready to come in full force and take over.
Yep. In May
So,
we did. We're gonna do 35,000.
mhm.
In April we did 37.
And you have a total of five, including you, or six?
So including me, yeah, 5.
Yeah. And are you happy with how your profit margins and everything? Are you comfortable, or do you strive to be a little more?
No, I mean we're comfortable with where they're at. I mean, obviously we always want to do more,
Yeah, yeah,
but
yeah.
you know, I mean our guys make incredible money and we pay them very well, and Austin and I don't make a lot of money, and but we are extremely disciplined with our finances, and so we set it up that way. Most of our money is invested back into the business. In that last video I just uploaded, um, talking about uh, 6 things to think about when it comes to a successful partnership. And I talk about pay. And in the beginning, Austin and I didn't pay ourselves for the first year. We should have paid ourselves earlier. We should have paid ourselves something, specifically Austin for doing more of the detailing. And I think even now we should probably pay ourselves a little bit more. But we're also an S corp, so we
hmm
take a salary that's reasonable, and then we can pay
hmm
ourselves distributions that are we don't have to pay FICA on that. We don't have to pay self-employment tax on that. So um, we can kind of do that.
Is your goal to like get to a certain point in your business where you make like I know your podcast is called Road to 1 million. Do you think
Mhm.
that's when you hit 1 million in gross income or revenue, whatever you call it? Do you think that's when you're going to be able to actually like pay yourself more?
Well, Mike Norng said that to get when you get to the first million, you will not make more money than what you made whenever you were doing 300,000, like you personally. But it's
That
from
makes sense.
the million point on that you can really start to scale, and you can start to see like profit margins increase, because up until that point you're really just hiring more people,
hmm
and so you're making more but you're also spending more.
Right. Yeah. When you make more money, it comes with more responsibility for sure. Yeah. You clearly seem like you're very generous with the revenue. Um, It seems like you were saying earlier, it seems like you look at it from the bigger picture. You know that one
Yeah.
day it will pay off,
And
just not now.
I want employees that want to do this forever. I want
Hmm.
people that are set up. And I know that they
They
don't
all look
have to.
happy. They all look happy to be there, and I love the idea of the polos. I'm wearing a polo right now, but I'm gonna start introducing that with my employees. I'm also gonna probably like my one employee, Braden. He's a good kid, but he wears a beanie, and I don't know why, but me personally, I'm not a fan of it. And he's a good looking kid. I mean, sometimes he'll come in and he'll make his hair look nice. I'm like, dude, like you're a good looking dude. Like take the beanie off. And he looks great in the uniform, but I like the idea of the polos. I think what I'm gonna do is polos, khakis, and I want to do these white water resistant boots that I found. They look like Marty McFly shoes from Back to the Future. And I
Okay.
think I want that to be the uniform because I want it to you know, if you see a uniform like that anywhere else, it might kind of tap into their memory. Oh, that's how Pristine Projects dresses or whatever. I don't know. It's just a little thing that I'm thinking about uniforms. But
It's important.
the polos are nice and they definitely set yourself aside. I mean, and you probably charge more for that just because.
It's just one little piece of the puzzle, with the business
Yeah.
cards and how the shop's clean and got the lighting this way. And yeah,
Oh
it's just
yeah.
one little piece.
Yeah. I was surprised to find out how inexpensive hex lights were. I didn't realize that they were 60, $70.
Yeah.
So when I found out about that, I started balling out on hex lights. um, but another thing I was going to ask you is, um, shoot, I forgot. Um, Man, I forgot. Yeah, it slipped
Well,
my
no
mind.
worries. If you think about it, you can let me know. Um, I appreciate you coming on, man. I'm probably gonna end it here, and this has been a great episode, and I appreciate you sharing and being
Yeah.
so open with your
Hmm.
numbers. Um, and I hope that this has been valuable for other people listening as well. And just keep killing it, man. It's exciting to see how fast you've grown this year
Hmm.
since September, and now with not having to do paid ads, that's incredible.
Yeah.
So keep it up, dude.
Yeah, I appreciate it, and I love being on here. And honestly, like I know there's probably no room to do it again for a while, but I would love to do it again. This was a ton of fun, and I learned a lot as well. I mean, even just hearing yourself like repeat things that just have been playing in your mind, or just hearing you talk, like you definitely walk out of here with inspiration and ideas, and I appreciate it.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate you saying that, and I'd love to have you back on again. Do a
Yeah.
check in here in like 6 months or so. That's what I'm going to start having some of these guests. I think I'm going to start inviting some of the guys I've had on in the past. I'm going to start inviting them
Yeah,
back
you
and
could
kind of
also we
checking
could
in.
also do a group one. I don't know, just an idea.
Yeah,
Maybe get two people on instead of just one, and just talk. Um, and
that's an interesting
Yeah, I mean,
idea.
I always thought like, is this guy gonna run out of detailers? Because there's only so many detailers that like in the world that make over 100, 200K a year,
Yeah.
and run it like a
Yes.
business.
So far, haven't had that problem, but if we do, we'll probably just start having to have repeat guests on. So
Yeah, man, this was awesome, and I had a ton of fun, and I look forward to doing this again. Maybe in November. We'll see how I'm doing in November. See if business drops or keeps increasing.
let's do
And
it.
by
That
the time
sounds
I try
good.
to, yeah, yeah. Thanks, man, again for having me on.
Thank you, Evan. And thanks everyone for listening.